One of the most humorous things I have found going on in the political situation this week has been the fact that former President Clinton went down to Florida to convince the Democratic candidate for the Senate, who is trailing a distant third, to back out of the race. The guy's name is Meek. I can't remember his first name. His name is Meek, a black man who's a Democrat. And the idea was that because it's a three-way race down there, you've got Meek, who's a Democrat, running in a distant third. You got Charlie Crist, who's the current Republican governor of Florida, running as an independent for the Senate, claiming now that he's a moderate. And then you've got Marco Rubio, who is the conservative Republican, running way ahead in first place. And he's got a lot of backing from the Tea Party. We'll talk about the Tea Party in a second. But now the funny thing is that Clinton goes down to convince the Democrat to back out of the race and throw his support towards Crist, a moderate, in order to keep the conservative Rubio out of the Senate. Rubio's being backed up by the Tea Party as well as by conservative Republicans and probably the Republican Party. That's their choice right now, not Crist. So what happened was, now Meek denies any conversation took place, but I'm sure Charlie Crist was involved in that. He had to be, because it would be very beneficial to him for Meek to back out. That would throw him over the edge and beat Rubio. So it turns out Meek is not going to do that. He's going to stay in the race, thank God, because he ought to stay in the race. The fact of the matter is, many Floridians have already cast their votes, and I'm sure many have cast their votes for him. What do you say to them? Well, I cast my vote, now he's backing out of the race? Not too smart. It would certainly damage his chances for political office in the future, I think. But I do find it very heartening that an ex-Democrat president would go down and convince other Democrat to throw his support behind what is basically a moderate Republican. Doesn't it make your heart feel good? Or as Sean Hannity would say, let not your heart be troubled.
Interesting this week is the cover of Time magazine. We've got the party crowd there. And what we have here is Meg Whitman, Marco Rubio, Rand Paul, and Christine O'Donnell. These are people that we now know are backed up Tea Party. And this is going to be very interesting when they do get elected. I mean, I don't know where Christine O'Donnell stands right now. I know she's behind in the polls in Delaware, but the other three are way ahead. And they're going to beat their opponents. Meg Whitman's running against Reid, the current Senate Majority Leader in Nevada, and she's ahead in the polls. It's a great thing. I know Time is a little leaning magazine. I always say it's good to read everything and get approached, regardless of what your political views are. I find that more conservatives read liberal magazines as well as conservative magazines, but very few liberals will read conservative magazines. Very, very closed-minded. It's a great article. If you get a chance to read it, you can go online and read it, I'm sure. I'm not sure if it's up online yet. This is this coming week's issue of Time magazine. One of the critical things is that we got a situation with what happened here. Let's see. Hold on a second. I've got to get the what we've got right now is the projections for the Senate race and for the Senate races around the country. And I wanted to show you this map I have on the computer here. This map here shows clearly, if it's red, those are GOP gains. Those are the gains we're anticipating to make in the Senate this coming Tuesday, the 2nd of November. If it's pink, those are going to be GOP holds, going to stay as is. And if they're light blue, those are Democratic holds. And if they're dark, those Democratic gains. No, there are no Democratic gains anywhere on this map. Nothing. And I see a lot more pink and red. I see a lot of light blue. There is no dark blue. One of the curious things is, look here in Connecticut, if we move up here, Connecticut is still going to be a liberal-leaning state, despite the fact Richard Blumenthal, who has been the Attorney General of the state of Connecticut for years, is now for the Senate, and he's about his military service. It seems that the majority of Connecticut residents are going to go ahead and elect him in. He is ahead of McMahon right now, Linda McMahon, who was the former chair of the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation. She was the CEO. The funny thing is, I find it amazing that here you have Richard Blumenthal in his debate. in Connecticut couldn't answer how you create jobs. You know, a lot of Democrats can't. They say the government creates jobs. The government doesn't create jobs. Entrepreneurs create jobs. People with wealth who create businesses create jobs. And it's not the government's role to create jobs. It just isn't. You know, we've seen what the Senate makeup in this on this computer layout here for the projections. If we go to the governor of the House of Representatives, let's take a look and see what that looks like. See if we get any. Whoops, offline mode. Try again. How can I be offline? We just went offline? I can't believe that. Let's try that again. We're working here on trying to. That's the summary. Yeah. How come I can't get off online there? Hold on a second. Nope, won't let me. Firefox is currently offline mode and cannot browse the web. Okay, well, that takes care of that. So we need to open up. Anyway, what we've got is basically a situation with a lot of Tea Party people getting elected, and I hope they do. But I mean, the Republicans are really going to have to pull up their bootstraps and get down to business. It's not going to be the same as before. You're going to have some of these very diehard people that are going to sit their heels in on budget issues. And, you know, the Republicans can't be big spenders like they were, because they were basically no different than Democrats when it came to the bailout, when it came to TARP, when it came to passing every budget and raising the debt ceiling every single time. We're now, what, $13 trillion in debt? I can't imagine how many zeros are a trillion. I don't know. Don't know what that is. But here's what I do know. If you have a scenario set up in the Senate and the House when they're trying to pass the budget every year, and if it's not what the Tea Party wants, if it's really too much spending going on, if it's real excessive, they say no. And you have the Democrats saying no just because it's a Republican budget. So go figure. Go figure. It'll be very, very, very interesting to see what happens. I'm going to be back later on in my next video. We'll go through the House of Representatives and the governor's races coming up later this afternoon when I post the next video. Good luck to you all. Go out, take the trash out on Tuesday. Take care. Bye-bye.